06 to order. Cindy, roll call, please.
Councilmember Cope,
Here.
Evans,
Here.
Martin,
Here.
Ready,
Here.
Burkhart.
Here.
We have one item, well, actually a couple of items under the work session this evening. The first being city administrator and staff comments.
I don't have any staff comments. I think Matt does.
I just wanted to report back to council. We did have our public meeting for our sidewalk improvement program for the Green Meadows West neighborhood. We did have a great turnout. I think for both meetings, we filled the room and just really kind of informed them of what the next steps are of receiving the letter and being able to perform those repairs prior to August 2nd. So we did have a great turnout and just wanted to share that with council. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought, as Matt has said, they were both very well attended. Good questions were asked. I thought Matt and what was the other, Justin did a really good job with the presentation and responding to questions. So that was a good meeting.
It was posted online to the presentation as well as the presentation.
Any other city staff comments?
I had one. I just wanted to let you know that the business survey should be going out in the next week to a week and a half, and the community survey will be a little bit behind that, but I'm thinking probably 2 or 3 weeks that should go out. It takes about 2 weeks to prepare once we have everything finalized, but once they let me know and I see a draft of it, we'll share information out on our website and our social media pages so residents know what to look for when the community survey does go out.
Janet? Anyone else? Clayton?
I want to introduce our new planner, Jacob Sheridan. I'm going to do it during his first agenda items. This is a moment.
Sure.
This is his third week with us today, so I just wanted to bring him to your attention.
And what is his name again?
Jacob Sheridan.
Jacob Sheridan, okay.
He's here for you.
Jacob, why don't you tell us, since we have time, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Clayton did it to you.
Graduate of Iowa State University, got my bachelor's in community and regional planning. So go Cyclones, I know the later. I have a master's in GIS from Northwest Missouri State University. I worked in Johnston City, Kansas as a county city planner there for a little under 2 years, and then just recently was working at ISG for about 1.5 years before starting here.
Great. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on board.
He's been a great asset so far. I'm very happy to have someone to share work with.
And you say he's going to be making a presentation this evening, or?
He's got a site plan for you tonight.
Wonderful. Okay, council, a little hazing.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, you'll be great. Any other city staff comments or, yeah. Seeing none, we'll have the city council comments. Councilman Evans.
Nothing, thanks.
Councilman Redding. Councilman Cope.
I just wanted to, following up from Matt's comments about the meeting that we had here last week, I thought they were really positive meetings. You know, a lot of great questions. I'm always fascinated by, there's always somebody in the room who is like the concrete expert, right? And they're like, yeah, you do this and you do this, and they're gonna do it themselves to fix their own sidewalks. And I'm like, wow, that's not me. So, but I had a great opportunity after both the meetings to talk to some folks afterwards, and just they were very positive about the community, and a lot of, I thought was, you know, and there were certainly some skeptics in the room, a lot of people who had legitimate good, you know, questions about it, but at the same time there were also folks that said, hey, look, we walk those sidewalks and we want to make sure there's a good network of sidewalks and we see a real benefit to this program. So I heard that from a lot of folks too. So it's always good to get an opportunity to interact with our folks. And both meetings were well attended, but the second meeting, there were people all the way through every seat, and a lot of feedback on it. So just wanted to, it was a great meeting, and appreciate Matt, you and your team for the work that they did to kind of get everybody educated on that.
Councilman Burkhart.
My one comment that I'd make tonight, I had the opportunity just today to visit the Metro Waste Authority recycling facility. I know Councilmember Cope has commented on it before and attended the kind of a ribbon cutting of that when he served on the Metro Waste Authority board. If you ever get a chance or ever want the chance, please let me know. But it is a fantastic and fascinating facility right in our own backyard, right over there off of 141 in Grimes specifically. A couple of takeaways. It is incredibly important facility to keep recyclable materials out of our landfills, out of our streams, out of our every which place fence posts. And so consequently, I encourage you to recycle, not only because of what it can do to help keep our environment and our community clean, but also there's an economic benefit to keeping all of our garbage and refuse disposal fees lower because of it. Everything that they do is done from the auspices of trying to then reuse it and resell it as a commodity. And what they're able to do and offset certainly directly impacts then our trash and garbage and refuse fees. And I found that very fascinating. The other comment I'd make just very briefly, as you are doing your recycling, continue to do it and be so diligent in it, but make sure not to pollute it as much as possible. As I walked by different parts in that facility, they had giant plastic totes full of fire extinguishers that people had thrown in their recycling, and large amounts of lithium ion batteries, from everything from vape pens to cell phones, and there were several DeWalt tools, batteries and things like that. And not only are those not possible to be sold and commoditized, they are a major, major risk to fire within that facility. That facility already did have and had to respond. Johnston and Grimes Fire Department responded to fire at that facility. They're just getting back up on their feet and responding to that. So whatever we can do to be a good neighbor, I think would be great. But again, whatever we can do to continue to frequent that place, I think would be awesome. It's just amazing. So,
And
thanks.
I would just add that if you're tired of going to the grocery store with your returnable bottles and cans and having machines reject half of them and then not knowing what to do with them, they do take bottles and cans back.
They do.
At the facility in Grimes. All you have to do is put them in a bag, count them, tell them how many you have, and they'll write you a check and you're out of there. So it's really, really handy.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to, I don't know if it's going to happen later on, but I was wondering if Chief Clark could tell us a little bit about the families that lost their apartments and if there are things that the community could do to help out.
Good question. So Thursday, we had the fire over here at the Avenue. The first process is we get a hold of Polk County Emergency Management. They reach out to the Red Cross. The Red Cross came over. They brought 3 individuals. They do what they call case management. And so all the individuals that were displaced were all given vouchers and put up in a hotel room for that first evening. The Avenue had enough vacant apartments that all of them are going to be rehoused within the same complex there. So on Friday, we went, we had crews there helping them get in to their apartments safely, make sure that they could get some of their stuff out. The management company also had workers on site, their maintenance workers that were helping them and helping load stuff. Some of them had garages they were able to put stuff in so that then they could take their time and clean it up before they brought it back into the new property. So as far as we know, there was 12 adults and 6 children, and they were all being rehoused. So they were all going to be able to stay on that same complex.
Well, that's great news. That is really good news. And if they need furniture or whatever.
Yeah, we haven't reached out today, but we'll be reaching out this week to the management company, see if there's any needs.
I mean,
or
if there's
that we can
anything
do.
special, I don't know what we could provide, the community could provide, but if they had something. I remember once during COVID, there was a call for sewing machines and things like that. But I mean, that was a different situation. But thank you for that. That is great news to
Absolutely.
hear.
Yeah, Yeah, the Red Cross is great. Polk County Emergency Management's great that they have staff and have somebody that'll come out and kind of help us through the process as well. So it worked out very well for them in a very unfortunate circumstance. So,
Correct. Thanks.
welcome.
Chief, I just one question. As I understand it, that apartment complex did not have a sprinkler system, is that correct?
No, those were built prior to the code requiring them all to be sprinklered. My understanding is they were built several years ago, but it was really built in response to house people that were affected by Katrina, the hurricane that affected a lot of the southern coast. And so a lot of people, so those were built, I think early 2000s or something like that, so.
I think what just sort of shows, obviously the benefit of those, of sprinkler systems, which we
Yeah,
require.
and this, because it started on the back side of the house and then went up into the attic. And so we had a period of time where we did build a lot of apartments, and they had what they called a 13R system, which was the standard that they were built to. And that residential standard was really designed to protect the residents and give them time to get out, but there are no sprinklers required in the attics under that system. Our last version of the fire code that we adopted, we did away with that for residential. So now any apartment buildings like that would have to have sprinklers in the attic, which is where this started, would have probably prevented all that damage, so.
I work with a person who's a volunteer firefighter up in Gilbert. I think it's Gilbert. And he talked about, I think you guys have a pipeline of information about these kind of things. And he said something about could have been a worse fire if it hadn't had fire stops in the attic.
So that particular building and several of them on that campus, they're basically 4 units, and then they have a fire wall between, and then another 4 identical units on the other side. And so all the fire was contained to the 4 units over on would be the east side. The ones on the west side had some smoke damage and some water damage, but not a lot of structural damage on that side at all. So they were all being displaced until they could go in and get things cleaned up and restored. But yeah, the 4 on the east side were definitely had a lot of damage, and it was all the roof and the back of the structure. Not a lot of damage to the inside except for the ceiling, the insulation, and all the water that came in after we fought the fire. So.
Again, thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief, thank your firefighters. I mean, this is another prime example of how well trained and what a good job that they do. So
Yeah.
we want to make sure that they understand our appreciation.
Pass that on. Thank you.
I don't have anything additionally to add tonight, and it is 7 o'clock, so why don't we go ahead and get started with our city council meeting?